Men want only one thing, and it is beautiful, and that is obviously to see Disney fail.
Nerderotic.com.
It looks like it's time for another Disney is Burning video.
Nice.
So you over 788,000 awakening wonders in the 40% who haven't subscribed yet, you know the drill. After 2 years of Marvel Stage 4 MCU failures and a string of Lucasfilm misfires, including Willow, which was not only canceled,
Nice.
it was removed from Disney Plus. And I would be remiss to not bring up the multiple Pixar flops.
Ooh.
Millions of subs lost.
I mean, one thing is Disney currently failing with their MCU BS city, but man, Pixar is on fire, okay? Their newest movie, that anthropomorphic elemental thing, is a disaster. It is absolutely beyond a disaster, honestly.
And billions of dollars lost on D+. After
Nice.
wading into politics and getting into a fight with an entire state and losing its special tax status. Disney stock started to tank, and then they fired their CEO, Bob Chapek, in the middle of the night on a Sunday, only to bring back Bobby Iger, the weatherman. And
Yeah.
how has it gone since then?
Horrible, probably.
Unfortunately for Disney, all downhill, including firing Marvel executive Victoria Alonso. This was followed by firing Marvel chairman Ike Perlmutter along with 7,000 other people, but it doesn't end there. Then the chief diversity officer, Latondra Newton, departed.
Oh no, not the chief diversity officer. Her job was so important to everyone, said no one probably ever.
Galaxy's Edge, the Disney Star Wars experience that charged.
No, but seriously, imagine you work in a business where you have a diversity officer. Someone literally strolls in on you while you're working, looks at you, and says, "You ain't black, boy. Do we have a problem here with you not being black enough? Are you even black?" Bruh, America, boys.
Families
America.
thousands of dollars for rooms the size of your average broom closet shut down permanently. The stock continued to tank, and so did the box office. Antifa Man, Commie Mania was a flop. Little Mermaid underperformed.
Wow.
In other words, was a flop. Elemental, another Pixar flop. And this was closely followed.
Name a single Pixar movie in the past 5 years that has not been an atrocious disaster.
By the massive catastrophic flop that was Indiana Jones and the Depends of Destiny, which I'm sure is going to add to
Nice.
the reported almost $1 billion they've lost in recent films, and that is overshadowed by the $4 billion
Man.
they've lost in streaming. And if all that wasn't bad enough, the hits keep coming, except in Disney's case. Indy 5 was embarrassed by 2 indie movies, and we'll get into that in just a bit. Things have gotten so bad that the corporate media complex actually has to acknowledge it. Of course, the access media comes to all the wrong conclusions and completely
Obviously.
refuses to talk about one of the main factors of Disney's failures, which we will also get into later. But first, let's hear what they have to say. This article comes to us from Variety, which is owned by the Penske Media Group, which also happens to own Deadline, The Hollywood Reporter, and Rolling Stone. Disney's harsh
literally
new
everything.
reality, costly film flops, creative struggles, and a shrinking global box office. Hey, no one likes shrinkage, am I right, ladies? For the past decade, Disney has been the Teflon movie studio, remarkably adept at withstanding the tectonic changes impacting the film industry. And they remain remarkably adept at manipulating the media to help cover for their multiple mistakes and assist in things like fan baiting. I digress. And well fortified by its arsenal of key properties such as Marvel, which they purchased, Lucasfilm, which they purchased, and Pixar, which they purchased. And those purchases did well, but like I've said in the past, Disney didn't start Pixar, Lucasfilm, or Marvel, but as it stands right now, they're sure going to finish them. But this year, the long-rating titan of the box office has shown cracks as 4 of its biggest releases
boy.
from those brands and others have struggled in theaters. There was the dispiriting release of Antifa Man, Commie Mania, a rare Marvel movie to likely lose tens of millions in its theatrical run. The Little Mermaid, a remake of a 1989 animated classic
A remake or a literal butchery?
that fell drastically short of expectations. Elemental, an original story that tried and failed to recapture Pixar's magic. Bet you miss John Lasseter now. And most recently, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysentery, a
Jesus.
nearly $300 million investment in one of cinema's most venerable franchises, which no longer appears to have the same hold on today's audiences. You think? On paper, these films seem like they had all of the makings of huge.
You know what's the best part about this? Disney is going to look at all of this, they're going to start panic, and they're going to look for more franchises that are old, that actually did good, that have a cult following. Do the exact same thing that ruined all of these franchises, but to another one. See that it's okay. This didn't lose money, and the only reason it didn't lose money is because it gets the classic hit fantastic. Well, we get to milk the old fans one time until they leave and never watch us again part, and then they're gonna do part 2 of that movie, and it's gonna flop like crazy. And at some point, Disney is gonna be out of old IPs to destroy. And what happens then? Do we then finally, admit that, everything that Disney has done is wrong? Probably not, but, we will see.
Huge hits, but somehow the Disney sparkle was lacking this time. Hate to break it to you, sweetheart, it never existed in terms of filling movie theater seats. Variety does attempt to run some cover for Disney by mentioning 2022, where Disney had some hits. Now, Avatar 2 was absolutely a runaway hit. It is the third highest grossing movie of all time without adjusting for inflation, and it's also a holdover from Fox. And if James Cameron lives long enough and they make 30 more Avatars, Disney might be able to recoup some of the $71.3 billion they paid for Fox. The other two hits from Disney in 2022, Wakanda Forever and Doctor Strange Mom. Now, I'd mentioned in previous videos that I had spoken to somebody who has worked on a previous Disney Marvel product, and they told me that Disney was vastly underreporting their budgets to the tune of $50 to $100 million, and now we have that confirmed.
Wow.
From Forbes, Disney reveals Doctor Strange 2 cost $100 million more than its estimated budget, bringing its budget to $300 million. Now add that to every single Marvel Stage 4 film and Antifa Man Call Me Mania.
Jeez.
So are these hits?
Wait, this is actually so predictable that they most likely would do that for positive PR and to not to represent themselves as a failure. I'm actually ashamed of myself to not imagining they will just do it. Oh, wow, I feel bad about myself because I didn't consider them just flat out lying about this. What? I really do feel I should have called that. Wow.
Or are they just eking out a profit? Barring a miracle or a sudden surge of interest in all things Haunted Mansion, which looks to be another flop, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 looks like it'll be the studio's biggest earner of the year with $835 million, which is too bad.
Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty okay, The first was obviously the best, but,
It came up short of its predecessor,
good enough
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and its director, James Gunn, who was fired and then hired back, off to work for the competition. But not to worry, Disney, you still have one more potential hit this year, The Marvels.
Oh, jeez, I forgot about that.
The direct sequel to Captain Marvel, where the main character was demoted, and now it's a direct sequel to 3 Disney Plus shows no one's watched. Then there's this misleading line after mentioning Guardians 3 making $835 million this year. It's the first time since 2014, except for the pandemic-stricken years of 2020 and 2021. Incidentally, Spider-Man No Way Home, which made $1 billion, came out in 2021. That Disney won't have a movie that reaches $1 billion. What that should say is Spider-Man No Way Home is the only superhero movie that's made $1 billion since the...
Spider-Man No Way Home is also the only Disney movie that's actually worth kind of watching.
Joker, and no Disney Marvel movie has made $1 billion since Endgame. Yet, according to Variety, Disney still far outranks the competition in terms of market share in 2023, commanding 37% of the industry's revenues for now. Universal...
Dude, that should just put into perspective how bad the situation is. Like, I mean, we can make fun of Marvel all we want because it's funny, but mentioning DC honestly just makes me sad. And again, I'll mention this a million times. DC could literally own the superhero genre if they just did Vertigo stuff. Okay? It's so easy. Constantine, After Dark, Vertigo. There we go. You literally, the best character in comic book history, Constantine, and there you go. Bam.
is close behind at 31%, but ticket sales for the films it has produced have been more earthbound, especially compared to the last pre-COVID year, when Disney fielded a record 7 movies that crossed the $1 billion mark in 2019. Now, what was different about 2019? Sure, it was before COVID. That one's obvious. Best economy of my lifetime, but there's something else. There's one mitigating factor that no one from Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, or any of the other Access Media rags will ever acknowledge. They know the truth, they just refuse to see it.
Puerto Rico.
But you're a smart viewer, you've already guessed it, but to be fair, I'm not done with the article. Let's see if the Access Media figures it out. Spoilers, no. Disney Marvel's diminishing returns have been obvious for quite some time to a lot of us here, yet there has been a lot of cope, a lot of rationalization, and we still hear it to this day. Doctor Strange Mom made a profit. Wakanda Forever made a profit. Technically, they did. But newsflash, Disney doesn't spend $300+ million on a movie to eke out a profit, barely pay off the catering staff, and pocket a couple $100.
That's
Disney's
true,
movies
actually.
each require
That's
production
true.
budgets of at least $200 million, plus marketing costs of roughly $100 million. That means the
100 is a low estimate, by the way. 100 is a really low estimate.
studio's films have a higher benchmark than its rivals to break even at the box office.
And I mean, by the way, the thing about no one talks about this about marketing, but marketing doesn't exactly work like that. Marketing will fully depend on how successful and wanted, a movie is. For example, if the people at Disney think that this movie is gonna absolutely tear, the marketing can easily be 300 mil. If they think this movie is what is gonna be super good and everyone is gonna love, the marketing easily on average can be 300 mil. Marketing completely depends on the situation, what they think is currently happening, and marketing budgets in general, which means if there are currently 0 movies, the current X movie could receive technically more marketing money because of that.
In the past, those budgets were justified with movies that crossed $1 billion worldwide with ease. Those price tags are riskier in today's box office landscape. Now, is this the point where Variety gets to what is Disney's biggest problem since 2019? Not the only problem, but the biggest problem. No, with China's dollars no longer a guarantee due to tensions with the West and changing tastes, I guess thinking a concentration camp in China only goes so far. And no
True.
films are being released in Russia right now for obvious reasons. As a result, the international box office has diminished to a shadow of its former self, and that has major consequences.
Do Russians actually watch that many movies? I'm pretty sure Russia's like the first place to usually get like the really high HD rips where no one needs to pay. I'm pretty sure Russia's really big on that. So does that even honestly matter for them that much?
For Disney's profitability and Hollywood's. Anything Disney threw out in 2019 made $1 billion, says Jeff Bach, an analyst from Exhibitor Relations, and now we know why Jeff makes the big bucks. Now it's more difficult than ever to release a film worldwide. The international landscape has changed. I wonder what changed about it. It's not close to back. The problem is that getting these costs under control will take time. Time that Disney and Hollywood no longer has. That's another thing we'll get to. Major movies take at least 3 or 4 years to develop, produce, and distribute. A lifetime in a fast-changing industry. Even if Disney is serious about tightening its belt, it may not make a noticeable difference until 2026 or beyond. It takes...
By the way, that's a really good assessment. I'm not going to get into the details, but yeah. Considering how work works, and I know that's a strange sentence to many, but considering how work works, yeah, that is a decent estimate.
Takes a long time for a big ship like Disney to change its course. I've been saying that for years, says Paul Verna, principal analyst.
It depends on what you actually think changing course means. Making cost cuts and changing the way you produce movies? Technically. changing ideology, literally a matter of hours for the whole company, not hard. It depends. You know, some people, it's true, some things are hard to change, but some things can literally be changed on a dime, and those things are huge that can't be changed like that.
Insider intelligence. You know, for being an entertainment rag, Variety sure does miss a lot. Now, I won't blame you for forgetting about this, but we're well into the third month of the writer's strike, and we're still hearing COVID excuses. And now that Disney and Hollywood got everything back up and running, they shut down again. Talk about a self-inflicted
I mean, COVID's the perfect excuse. Remember when Blizzard Entertainment said, "Oh, COVID made no one play computer games," while the sector literally exploded with 2x profits and whatnot. They blamed it on no one playing their games. I mean, it's the perfect storm of excuses.
mortal wound. So let's recap some of the very legitimate reasons Variety has given for Disney's massive failures, not necessarily in any order. No distribution in Russia, tensions with China, ballooning budgets, COVID, cannibalizing its own content with soulless remakes, abandoning movie theaters and hyper-focusing on streaming. While those are all good reasons for Disney's massive failures, there still seems to be something missing. Let's see if Variety catches it. People have become conditioned to expect that things will quickly appear on D+, says Neil Macker, a senior equity analyst for Morningstar Research Services. The theatrical movie business has been in decline for a while, and the pandemic accelerated that, and I wonder what the writer's strike's going to do. Pixar has suffered the most from that mindset, analysts believe. Pixar is becoming an anemic brand, notes Verna. It's fallen so far from the days in which anything it released would blow the doors off. No, Disney is the anemic brand. Let's talk about the oversaturation on streaming. If it was an oversaturation of mediocre shows, yet some were good, it would be doing a lot better. The problem is, it's been an oversaturation of complete shit. Let's talk about just the past.
Yeah, the oversaturation argument completely just doesn't work, because oversaturation works like this. If you have something big that everyone knows about, that's going to receive X times more views than anticipated. But everything small is going to see a major hit. And if that's not what you're seeing, then that's not oversaturation.
Past 3 from Disney Marvel. There was Miss Marvel, a show that no one watched. She-Hulk, a show that very few people watched and regretted it. And Secret Invasion. And we're right back to a show that no one's watching. Which, surprisingly enough, from
I'm not
Disney,
watching, by the way, Secret Invasion. Fuck it, I'm not even gonna try.
Is a show about a broken down old man, Nick Fury, which has only been overshadowed by a movie about a broken down old man, Indiana Jones, or the last 3 offerings from Disney Star Wars on D+. Boba Fett, about a confused old man. Obi-Wan, about a sad middle-aged man who's a horrible babysitter.
Also
and The Mandalorian
incompetent.
Season 3, where they replaced the man. Oh, I almost forgot Andor, or Blandor, and apparently a lot of people forgot it was on. Now, admittedly, some people liked it, but not enough. And it cost $250 million to make. Then there's National Treasure, which was canceled, Willow, which was canceled and removed from the platform, and Crater, which I had never heard of until I heard it cratered so hard it was removed from the platform. And that was another 50.
Can we get something good? Can we get an Expanse? Can we get something good? I miss the good stuff, okay? I want a little bit of that good stuff.
$1 million up in smoke. And again, while all these shows were coming out, D+ was bleeding subscribers. Now prepare for some Access Media logic whiplash on this one. Star Wars 2 has lost its luster in theaters as the
They needed so long to figure that out? Wow.
franchise set in a galaxy far, far away has found repeated success on D+, with series like The Mandalorian and Andor. Beloved audience, you're going to have to excuse me on this one. I need to talk directly to the Access Media, and I would like to ask them to please come in closer, and I'll speak slowly so you understand. If a series premieres on a streaming service that loses billions of dollars and millions of subscribers, it's not a success. But following the 2019 release of The Rise of Palpatine, Lucasfilm efforts to get another trilogy off the ground.
Alright, I still need to watch the Star Wars movie with Rey fighting Palpatine. I keep forgetting because I'm so not interested in that, and it's been years. It's literally, I think, been 2 years since that movie came out, no?
proceeded in fits and starts or
Jeez.
farts, with several high-profile projects being announced only to disappear into development limbo. Disney is planning
Nice.
3 Star Wars films on the release calendar in 2026 and 2027, including that Rey film, Bring It On, but
Oh,
hasn't
boy.
revealed any details about those.
I can't wait until Rey rebuilds the Jedi Order, because that's not going to be a disaster. She's going to make it more feminine, more, well, better than what it was, obviously. It's going to be a success, trust me, boys.
Movies, nor will they. I'll believe there's a new Star Wars movie when I'm seated in the theater and seeing the opening crawl, says Josh Spiegel, a freelance film critic who specializes in Disney. Streaming was positioned as the greatest business ever, and it did live up to the hype, says Nispol, another analyst. Disney's losing more money than people thought it would, and the market became saturated more quickly than people expected. Well, some people were trying to warn you. At the same time, the ground is shifting under linear TV, and the parks business that had been a cash cow hasn't fully recovered from the pandemic. Those are far bigger problems. Yes, they are. Yet there's still a bigger problem out there that the access media, again, refuses to acknowledge. So we've established that Disney Star Wars, Disney Marvel, Pixar, and Disney are all tainted brands, and now the parks are suffering, and of course it's COVID's fault. Disney World had the slowest 4th of July in a decade and the lowest waits all year. And if that wasn't embarrassing enough, Indiana Jones and the Descent into Dementia was beaten by 2 independent films, including Insidious for the entire second weekend and Sound of Freedom on July 4th, a film.
Dude, by the way, have you seen what's happening with Sound of Freedom? People are posting that theaters are literally canceling the show. You know, some theaters at least. Not all theaters. A lot more theaters are actually picking it up because people want to see it. But some theaters, you know, with that special crowd of employees and owners and whatnot, are actually trying to make people not see Sound of Freedom. They're saying, oh, the AC doesn't work, so the movie's canceled, everyone. But the AC does work. People go to the theater and there's literally no one there. Everything is peach perfect condition. And it's like, nah, you can't see this movie. Insanity.
Disney let go, and things got so bad, the guy who said this.
Well, when was the last time you bought a ticket and went into a movie theater? Has it been a while?
I have seen movies on a big screen.
Yeah,
You know, in a theater.
Right.
Bruh.
But there was nobody else in the room.
Did you shoot Greedo first, or did Greedo shoot you first?
I don't care.
Was forced to say this.
For more than 40 years, I've been honored to be
Kill me.
your Indiana Jones. Every moment of this adventure has been made for you, the fans, and it's been one of the greatest joys of my career.
I don't
Sad.
care.
Again, we've heard a lot of reasons why Disney is failing right now, and they are legitimate, but we haven't heard the biggest one. Pissing off your audience. And what led to that? Well, I'll try to do this off the top of my head. Horrific writing that led to beloved characters being sacrificed on the altar of agenda, including Han,
Oh.
Leia, Captain America, and Iron Man, who were all killed off, and Disney thought you could just move past them when they are the brand. And some of the core characters that were left were...
I mean, though, I think Iron Man's death was actually pretty good because it's the selfish character. Because though Iron Man is the selfish character who took on a new leave and was constantly kind of slightly struggling against himself constantly, and then he did the ultimate sacrifice, which he knew he's not gonna probably make it out of. So I honestly don't think Iron Man's sacrifice was that bad. Could it have been done better? Yes. But was it actually bad? No. It was nothing like anything else.
vandalized beyond all recognition, including but not limited to Obi-Wan, Boba Fett, Hulk, Hawkeye, Thor, all leading to the overall destruction of the beloved IPs that we, the fans, made worth the billions you paid for them. But way to go, Disney. You've turned billions into millions. Biggest mistake of them all, you got political. You chose a side, but not just any partisan side. The family brand known as Disney came out against the family. And it's not like we haven't tried to warn you for years. And it's good that our friend Christian Toto has decided to.
The irony of this, of course, is the always funny fact that people sometimes forget about, honestly, is the fact that, well, if the Disney executives admit that they were wrong, they're probably losing their jobs. And it's better be the captain of a sinking ship while making literal millions than not being the captain of a ship that's not sinking while not making millions. Honestly, if I was ruining Disney, but I was still being paid millions yearly, I'd do it with a smile. Hell, I would openly mock people. Bruh, I'd ruin a lot of things for a million, not gonna lie, boys.
Echo that sentiment from Hollywood and Toto. Dear Hollywood, listen to your fearless critics, or else. Industry must consider contrarian views before another can't-miss film misses. Unfortunately, Christian, I think it's a little late for that. You know what almost immediately kills any comic book, game, movie, film, show, YouTube channel, intellectual property, or brand? And I'm looking at you, Disney. It's betraying the core ideals and values of your established brand. And in turn, you betray the audience. In other words, the paying customer. Indiana Jones and the Depends of Diarrhea was the abysmal failure that needed to happen. Disney can't cover this up.
Beautiful.
They can't blame Russian bots. They can't blame some vast alt-right conspiracy. They can't blame review bombing. They can't blame the fans. You gotta hit bottom.
But they will try.
Before anything can change, followed by taking responsibility, which Disney will never do, and I honestly don't care. As one gatekeeper falls or spends the next few years trying to right the ship, I see this as an opportunity for 1,000 more gates to open. There's no better time than now to be an independent creator. And that's why Disney failing is a good thing. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.
This was absolutely amazing. Nerdrotic is absolutely always useful. And as always, there's 2 channels. And Nerdrotic Daily is really good also. So probably better than Nerdrotic, honestly. Anyway, this was Christopher Simpson. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And have a nice day. Oh, bye-bye.